Howdy gaming people, Damon Master here, and it's episode 3 of Unboxing My Collection, and this time we're taking a look at Wizardry, Legacy of Llylgamyn, always really tricky for me to pronounce, the third scenario, probably easier, I'll stick with that. This is a original purchase in that it was bought in the 80s. And has been with me ever since. This wasn't something that I picked up later, just through sort of collecting and hunting. What had originally happened was that my father and I had played the first Wizardry, Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord. It was a pirate copy, won't lie, but that was such was the 80s. And I don't think we'd ever finished it, but Dad had managed to get to the bottom level and had encountered Wordner at one point. But I don't think we ever defeated him. Anyway, we'd also played Ultima 3 Exodus, and we'd finished that. And originally, as a birthday surprise, I know Dad was looking to get Ultima 4 on the PC for me, but ultimately couldn't, for one reason or another. And so he had ordered this title instead, and it took some time to arrive. Now, this is an Australian release. This particular box here is an Australian release, and I'll show you how and why in a moment when I open it up. But yeah, it was, my birthday was in October, and this arrived sometime around May the following year. So it took some time, but it was a surprise nonetheless, and a pleasant one. And so yeah, this has been with me since I think '89. So the box itself is nothing too amazing, but I will note it has the version of Wizardry 1 that we had played was on PC was a Buddha version, more akin to the Apple II release, where the dungeon itself was just in the small top left corner. I know they sort of re-released it later with this full screen, and that's what this version is. It's that full screen, and I think that's denoted here by the new and improved version. But yeah, so it's worn a little bit. I mean, the corners and all that. I think there was a sticker here which was denoted that it was the PC version. It's just since sort of lifted off. But let's crack open the box. And I've managed to keep the inside quite neat and tidy over the years. So we have our manual, which sort of explains everything that's going on. There's some color artwork there as well. It explains everything that's come before. It's pretty cool. And I really wish we still got this sort of stuff today. It doesn't take much, but it sort of really adds to the game. Okay, so here's I guess what sort of validates it as an Australian release, and that's the warranty card, which you can see my father actually filled out. I don't need to blur anything out here. We haven't lived there in a long time. So Mr. Michael Toogood for Wizardry 3 on the IBM, and it's got I think a serial number there or whatever, and the date is the 17th of March 1989. So neat. And we've got here another sort of warranty card, or yeah, that's probably a part of that. I think they probably came as one piece. Yeah, there's a perforated edge there. So there you go. So the orange, interestingly, obviously these people were selling Questor as well. So there's the disc. Good shape. So it's boot diskette. An original Surtex sleeve. We have product feature summary sheet for, let's see, the 7 Spirits of Ra. Right, so this is an advert. Ah, there we go. A real-time graphic adventure exhaustively researched for authenticity. Never played it, but there you go. There was an ad for it in there. We have a letter here from Andrew, and I forget the other name of the other chap who made Wizardry, and it's just basically thank you. Please don't use cheap programs. And if you can look that up, there's a whole thing about that and how cheat programs were going around to make Uber parties. We never did that. Alright, we've got a spell reference sheet here. We've got Priest and Mage. Yeah, that brings back memories. Does it not? I thought Latumor Fist was one of the spells. Maybe that's the first one. Anyway, how to change some of the effects, sounds, visuals, things like that in the game. Disc warranty. So new features here. So mentioning some of the enhancements. Yeah, divvying up gold, things like that. Catalogs. Oh, I know some of you love catalogs. So this one is obviously a Surtech catalog for their finances software, the Clan Practice Accountant. Right. Okay. For all you spreadsheet accounting junkies out there, that probably would have been the go, late 80s maybe. Cool. And last? No, not quite last. An advert for Knight of Diamonds, which I believe was the second Wizardry. And the sort of the right up there. And last but not least, CompuServe, free subscription, plus a $15 usage credit worth up to 2 hours online. Neat. So there you have it. I know we played a lot of Wizardry 3. I don't recall ever completing it though. I don't think we ever completed any of the Wizardry games, to be honest. They're just simply too hard. You know, young players today talk about Dark Souls and you know, playing brutally hard games. You want a brutally hard game experience, go back and play the original Wizardry games, because the reason I mean, there was only, what, 12 dungeon levels or something. The reason they took so long is that you had to, you know, like a rogue title, you had to go slow and carefully. And, you know, you could spend a weekend just gently probing and pushing into the first level of a Wizardry dungeon, slowly, you know, leveling up your party so that they were strong enough to go in sort of deeper. And I miss that kind of adrenaline rush too, I suppose, that you got when you were in a tense situation. All the more incentive to play sort of hardcore and things like that in games today. But yeah, anyway, so this has a special place on my shelf because it's an original. It was a present. It wasn't something I bought later. I have since gone back and purchased box copies of Wizardry 1 and 2, although I never played 2, just to fill out the trilogy. I probably won't do a video on those because there's no real story behind them, and that's the focus of this series. But this particular one, Wizardry 3, Legacy of Llylgamyn, holds a place into my heart, and I thought I'd share it with you. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to get another episode up fairly soon.